The most legendary Pacts with the Devil was a program that I needed to compose a meme for that seemed to have no reference to the show. And I'm not going to list out the individuals it talks about, but one can guess. There are people who would have relationships with entities on behalf of others, but it is not right to presume. People should not pretend that they take a side if they prevent conversion. Some do have exceptional knowledge by spiritual practices. People should never find others guilty without proof. If the Pope or some other religious leader can be a secret Satanist, then it obviously can't be the leadership that the chief enemy of Satan sanctioned. A lot of people claim apostolic or prophetic authority for their church leadership. And the idea that a person could be a hypocrite would prove it wrong, right? Now, if they claim that sort of authority for the type of leadership rather than the specific church structure or something, that can be different. But that's to discuss elsewhere. It does make sense that Satanism would have similar rights to other faiths. But of course, it doesn't mean that Satanism is always the exact same thing as reverse Judaism or reverse Christianity or something like that. People do incarnate the will of the demons they call on. Sometimes people will not have their offerings accepted because they didn't do it for the other side. Or we're going to do these things regardless. So, it can't be a sacrifice. It's like, I want to do this, whether it's a crime or whatever, or and I'm just going to, whatever sides want to take part. There was this person mentioned in the story that did even over 600 murders as part of their practices. And it doesn't seem that they were too picky which dark entity would have accepted it and did their bidding. Exorcists seldom make news if there is no crime. You can find plenty of stories where people were beaten to death and all sorts of things as part of exorcisms. People could intend my seasonal practices as exorcisms if that's what they want to look at. Some other things. Some people will intend them in other directions as a carcist or which is different than an exorcist, really, or a devotee. So it just depends on your intention with some of the practices, but it's not something they put on the news, even if like it's done publicly. Like, oh, the Pope came to town, but they won't tell you if an exorcism happened with that. And now I've never been anywhere near the Pope, as far as I know, but you know what I mean. Power varies by choices, but certain family lines would be used more than others. People need to stop acting like every secret society or other sect would be in knowing league with demons. And that's really what witchcraft is. Forget all that Wiccan stuff. Witchcraft is knowingly working with demons. In Arabic, they have the word seher. In ancient Egyptian, they divide that, whether you're using the sin or the sod. Well, I mean, I don't think there's letters that have been figured out as far as they name the letters in ancient Egyptian, but they have the internal seher and the external seher. So they break things up. Other things would be contrasted, but that's, again, for the ancient Egyptian list, if anything. It makes sense for the idea of a deal with the devil to be bounced off the biblical idea of God. Because look at all the things the Bible says that God does. Makes a deal, killing his own son, they say, to get that control that, you know, how did it get lost in the first place, right? Um, but they don't follow the logic in that direction. Um, all the killing and all sorts of stuff. And the thing about Job, and there's just so many things that would lead people to say, "Oh, the Bible says this, so let's become Satanists instead." So it's not always a horror movie. But if it is, again, what are they bouncing it off of?